Morning everyone, welcome back to another YouTube video. It's Saturday and we're doing a monster ride on Zwift today. It's so big that it's going to require like not so much a big breakfast but a lot of ride food. I'm going to take you through everything, bring you along. Obviously I'm live streaming it. It's going to be 4 hours. We're on the Prudential Ride London loop, the full loop, so it's 175k. It's a long way, so I'm gonna have some breakfast. It's a really nice day today, but we're not going outside. I'd like to. Me and Mr. Robertson and Mr. Phil Rich are racing the DBR Racing League event, which is insanity, quite frankly. There's not many people signed up for it. I think this is the first time I've like properly spoken to you on camera since we raced the first round of the Zwift Community League hosted by WTRL, which was Tuesday. If you didn't see that, the live stream was pretty phenomenal, and I thank you all for tuning in because yeah, you made it what it was. Still like on a bit of a cloud after that because I didn't really expect to have that much support. So my breakfast is fairly simple, to be honest. It's just porridge oats and a big blob of peanut butter and some honey. Like peanut butter is probably like my biggest source of fat during the day. I mean I get it from other places as well, but in terms of like quantity of peanut butter, well, any nut butter really, I just love nut butter. We've got some vitamin D, multivitamin, and I'm finishing off some some old tablets that I found. They're not tablets, they're like well yeah, they are tablets. I don't know what else you'd call them. It's quercetin and green tea from Science and Sport that I've had for like a while, but I just haven't finished them, so I was like, I'll just take them and get them out of the way. So I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna make myself a coffee, and then we're gonna get ready, like properly ready, because we've got about an hour until we start the stream. It's gonna be a fun race, no doubt. 11 times up Box Hill. I'll try and like check in with you halfway, but I think it's just gonna be a case of like the race will be hard from the start, first couple of laps, and then it's likely to settle down just like in a real race. And even though there's bonus points at the top of every climb, I think it'll just be like people will be waiting for that, and then the final few laps it's gonna be hard. I do actually miss hill climbing, or at least the events, because I could go and do a hill climb anywhere around here, you know. I could like go and climb any climb as hard as I can, which I intend to do next week. But to keep it, for those of you who are still like wondering what's going on, like the most recent update is the National Hill Climb Champs is still going ahead. You know, the event say that they put in like all the necessary precautions and things, and then they put out a post on Facebook yesterday just like reiterating the fact that the regulations still stand, and that like it's up to the person to like basically decide whether or not it's in the letter of the law for them to travel and compete in an event. Personally, it's different from where I am, because we do actually have a non-essential travel is not permitted where I'm living right now in Swansea, so we're in a different boat to the rest of England. The rest of England is kind of like under this kind of tier system, the reason why I'm trying to explain this is because I know some of you aren't from the UK. So like the 3-tier system basically it's basically like, you know, traffic light system, and those are in the worst areas affected. They're kind of under the same kind of lockdown restrictions as we are in, although we hardly have any cases. We've got about 80 cases per 100,000 people, roughly, and some places in England who are under the same kind of level as us of lockdown have got like 500 plus, and like, to be fair, I think it's more of a case of like hats off to the Welsh government for like just taking ownership and just doing it, because if they just waited for the UK Parliament to do something, then we could be in a lot worse situation than we are in now in Wales. But yeah, that kind of does kind of leave us in like a sticky situation where, you know, I can't go to the event unless things change in the next week and a half, which is unlikely because they're talking about in Wales now just having a circuit breaker, which is 2 weeks of like full lockdown of the whole country, to try and, you know, push the numbers back completely. And I know that's not going to happen in England, I don't think, for a while, but at least for the Nationals, which is, you know, next weekend, if you're watching this Monday or whenever this video comes out, the Nationals will happen the weekend of like the 25th of October. Nothing's going to change. So, you know, I think 495 people or thereabouts have entered the Nationals, so, you know, like 500 people, and that's not counting, you know, the organisers and helpers there at the event. So it's going to be a pretty hectic weekend for them down in a sleepy village of Streatley. But it is what it is, isn't it? We're still, you know, trying to see if we can do the power that can, you know, win us the National Hill Climb Championships, even though we're not going there. And I think it'd be really interesting to see what I can do on a mock event, my own hill climb, you know, without the hype, without the people there, without the kind of atmosphere and the pressure that comes with race day itself, because I feel like that really does bring you on, you know, 10 watts, 20 watts or so. It's different for everybody, but yeah, that's where we are with that update. Out there and get into that wildlife headspace for these ultra racing. So I ended up doing 3 hours in the end. It's 20 to 1. It's a little bit difficult, like constantly riding on Zwift when you're always pedaling. Very little, like on that course, the Box Hill course in London, the PRL course, you get hardly any recovery going down the descent, so not much freewheeling time. So the plan now is I've got 2.5 hours until we meet up and do the team time trial training. It's going to be a little bit trial and error, I think, because none of us have done a team time trial before on Zwift. I've done like a good few in real life, but in real life it's all about being ragged, and usually the more ragged you are, the faster you go, or the more ragged you look, the faster you're going. But in Zwift it's all weird because you're going to work with the draft and things, so let's grab some food and then we will work with it. And I've just finished lunch, which is actually meal prep. I'm not big into meal prepping, but I meal prepped on Wednesday. This kept us going till Saturday. Chicken breast, seasoned veg, and some pesto pasta. But because my decreased training volume, I think I'm training around about 8 to 12 hours a week now for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I'm really finding that like obviously my appetite has dropped. I don't seem to eat that much like during my rides or during my workouts because I don't feel like I have to, because
they're so short. Even for like the most part, like the WTRL races on Tuesday evening, like I don't change anything throughout the day because I'm not really like going for a ride during the day. I'm just racing in the evening, and like I don't have to fuel differently because of it. Much in the same way that I treat a hill climb, like because a hill climb is so short most of the time, I don't change any of my fueling for it. So and because the training load's been a lot lower as a result, obviously that impacts like my FTP, it impacts my energy levels, impacts like my mindset and everything else. So this past kind of 3 weeks I've been tracking what I've been eating loosely, but I've been mindful about, you know, staying around 60 kilos because it makes the calculation of 10 watts per kilo a lot easier to do. But I'm also kind of I'm trying to get my macronutrient breakdown is kind of a bit like, it's kind of around, I want to say like 40 to 50 grams of fat, anywhere between like 90 and 120 grams of protein, and then the rest of whatever my calories are left over in carbohydrate. So that varies day to day then, obviously. So like what you saw this morning, the peanut butter is kind of like a staple. So I'll have peanut butter most days, if not every day, mixed in with porridge or whatever, like on toast. But then the rest of it, and like it's pretty low fiber for the most part because I'm eating little and often, and if I have like a high fiber diet, which I do for the most of the year and most of the training time, but during hill climb season but at the minute I'm just trying to like make sure I get enough carbohydrate in to fuel the workouts that I'm doing that are really, really intense, and I'm actually, you know, eating into a lot of my reserves. So the noisy washing machine. Charlie did some baking the other day. Someone just loads my clipping in. Oh yeah, cheats baking because she picked up one of these. It wasn't this one, but it was a chocolate brownie version from Aldi. It was like £1.50,
something like that.
Very few ingredients: brown rice flour, unrefined cane sugar, cocoa powder. A couple of weird ingredients I've never heard of, but there's only like 6 or 7 ingredients, which it would be anyway if you made it from scratch. But they do make rather nice brownies. I saved a hedgehog yesterday from near certain death from a crow. It was on my Instagram stories. Hedge pig.
Mm-hmm.
Hedge pig. Because they have.
That's what me and my dad call them.
They have little snouts.
And they make snuffly noises.
Hedge pig.
Mm-hmm.
They're like matte black instead of like shiny black. Bottles left over from this morning. I've just been finishing off one or two things that I kind of leave reserved for Saturday afternoon. Saturdays usually tend to be like, Fridays tend to be like the least busy days, and then Saturday morning I tend to like try and get a bit more riding in, whether it be with Charlie leisurely outside or whether it be like indoors on Zwift like it was this morning. But like it just so happened that today I got a couple of messages. No, it's always the case. I wanted to answer a couple of emails. Everybody says that, don't they? Like everybody that works at home or like runs their own business from home, they always say just answer some emails, you know, just gonna hop on a quick call or answer some emails. Basically, I'm just like replying to people who are asking questions. But the emails that I've actually had are just questions from people asking about like the hill climb championships next weekend, and how I'd go into it mentally, how I'd pace it, what gearing would I be use. I mean, these are things you probably would have tried and tested like a couple of weeks beforehand, rather than like asking the question now, like a week before, in my opinion. But yeah, just trying to help it. Somebody asked for the referral code on the back of my Hexr helmet. So it's not always like coaching. It's oh my word. I've just been told that the Zwift World Championships finishes on the Hilly KOM.
Okay, so this weekend has not turned out the way I thought it would. We were supposed to do the team time trial training, which we didn't end up doing because there was only 2 of us who were actually able to do the meetup on Zwift, so we didn't end up doing it. Instead, we sacked it off, and we're just gonna like wing it on Tuesday night at the team time trial. Me and Charlie were supposed to go for a ride this morning, Sunday, but she woke up with a migraine, so I sacked that off. I haven't been riding today either. So instead, I thought I'd end this video by showing you some details, some stats from somebody who lives local to me, who got in touch with me after I did the sprint training a couple of months ago during lockdown number 1, and Matt Hughes wanted to have a go at raising his sprint power, specifically following the same kind of protocols that I went through that time around, and that included high cadence sprints, just rolling start standard sprints, and then torque sprints. And he sent me this screenshot of his spreadsheet actually ages ago, and I never got a chance to share it with you. And it was on my desktop, the file, the screenshot, and I thought now's as good a time as any. So the actual outcome is pretty cool when you look at it, and if you pause the video right now, did I catch you out there? You thought the video had frozen, right? It's the same, it's almost the same here, but with the torque sprints you're not going to see such a peak power. You're going to see more of like a slow burn effect. But even with that one, there's small increases, but I guarantee that the torque sprints have 100% influenced the high cadence, but more importantly, the actual sprint rolling start, which is kind of, I guess, the sprints that you'd normally tend to do in a race or on a club ride or anything like that. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you. So gonna conclude the video here. Yeah, it's been a pretty standard weekend. 1 week to the Nationals. Let's get it. See you soon.